Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready to dive into something fun today. We're going to be looking at some movies on Netflix, specifically movies with lesbian characters. You know how sometimes you just scroll forever and can never decide what to watch?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Happens to me all the time.
So we found this really interesting article from Cinema Blend. It's called The Best Movies with Lesbian Characters on Netflix. And it's got such a great variety of movies. Romantic comedies, musicals, horror, all kinds of stuff.
It's really impressive to see how much more representation there is now compared to even just a few years ago.
Okay, so let's get into some of these movies. One that caught my eye right away was The Half of It. Have you heard of that one?
Yeah, I've heard really good things about it.
It's like a modern take on Cyrano de Bergerac,
Yeah.
but set in high school. And the reviews say it does a really good job of portraying the teenage experience.
Yeah, it sounds like it deals with some pretty universal themes, like identity and finding your place in the world, especially during those awkward high school years.
Right, exactly. And then there's So My Grandma's a Lesbian. That title alone had me cracking up.
I know, it sounds hilarious.
Two grandmothers coming out and getting married later in life. I can only imagine the family dynamics.
It's great to see a movie that challenges our expectations about age and love and shows that it's never too late to find happiness.
For sure. And now for something completely different. I care a lot with Rosamund Pike. This one sounds pretty intense.
I've heard it's a really gripping thriller. Rosamund Pike plays a con artist who preys on the elderly.
Oh, wow. That sounds dark. But I'm intrigued.
Yeah, it's definitely a movie that makes you think about power and morality and the lengths people will go to for their own gain.
Okay, let's lighten things up a bit. How about The Prom? That seems like a total feel-good movie.
Yeah, it's got a big cast, great music, and it's all about acceptance and fighting for what you believe in.
The story is about a group of Broadway stars who go to a small town to support a high school girl who wants to bring her girlfriend to prom.
It's a celebration of individuality and inclusion, and I've heard the musical numbers are fantastic.
All right, horror fans out there, we've got something for you too. Fear Street.
Oh yeah, that's a trilogy, right?
Yeah, the really cool thing about it is that the central love story is between two young women, but it's not treated as a big deal at all. It's just a natural part of the story.
I love that. It shows how representation can be really subtle and effective. You don't always have to make a huge statement about it.
Before we move on to some other movies, I just wanted to remind everyone to subscribe to Aftab Ashraf's YouTube channel for more great content on movies and representation in media. He does some really insightful reviews and discussions.
Definitely worth checking out.
Okay, back to the list. We've got Elisa and Marcela, which is based on a true story.
Oh wow, I hadn't heard of that one.
It's about two women in early 20th century Spain who defied societal norms to be together. It sounds like a really powerful and moving story.
I'm always fascinated by historical stories like that. It shows how long same-sex relationships have existed, even when they were hidden or suppressed.
And speaking of hidden stories, this list really highlights how far we've come in terms of representation. We've got heartwarming stories, intense thrillers, comedies, documentaries. It's amazing to see such a range of experiences reflected on screen.
It's a testament to the power of storytelling and how important it is to see ourselves represented in the media we consume.
So what stands out to you so far from this list?
There are so many good ones, but I'm really drawn to the ones that explore those deeper themes, like identity, self-acceptance, and the complexities of relationships. Yeah, it's really great to see these movies going beyond just the coming out story. You know, they're really digging into some more complex themes.
Totally. So Duck Butter is up next. And this one sounds a little bit out there.
Oh yeah, what's that one about?
So two women decide to spend 24 hours together and try to fast track intimacy.
That's an interesting concept. I wonder how that plays out.
Right. It seems like it could be really intense or maybe just awkward. Who knows?
Yeah, definitely a unique premise. It probably says something about modern relationships and how we connect with each other.
For sure. Okay, let's move on to something a little more lighthearted. Let It Snow.
Oh, I love that one.
It's a Christmas movie with multiple storylines, and a few of them involve LGBTQ couples.
Yeah, it's a really cute movie. Perfect for the holiday season.
Okay, this next one is interesting. To Each Your Own. It's about a Jewish woman who's about to come out to her family,
Okay.
but then she unexpectedly finds herself attracted to a man.
Oh, wow. So it kind of flips the script a little bit.
Exactly. It explores the idea that sexuality can be fluid
Yeah,
and that we don't always fit into neat little boxes.
I like that. It's a reminder that self-discovery is a journey, and sometimes it takes you in unexpected directions.
And speaking of unexpected directions, a perfect ending. This one deals with some pretty mature themes.
Oh, yeah. What's that one about?
It's about a married woman who finds happiness in an affair with a female escort.
Wow, that's a pretty heavy topic. It must explore some interesting questions about desire and societal expectations.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what else is a great resource for exploring these kinds of topics?
What's...
Aftab Ashraf's YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah, definitely. He always has such insightful commentary on movies and representation.
So if you're enjoying this deep dive, make sure to check out his channel for even more great recommendations.
Absolutely. It's so important to support creators who are pushing for more diversity and inclusion in media.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah.
We've talked about heartwarming comedies, intense thrillers, and thought-provoking dramas.
Yeah, it's really impressive to see how much variety there is in terms of movies with lesbian characters on Netflix.
And what's even more impressive is that these movies aren't just about quantity. They're about quality representation.
Right, these characters are well developed, their stories are nuanced, and they reflect the diversity of experiences within the LGBTQ+ community.
Exactly. So what are your overall thoughts on all of this? What stands out to you about these movies and the importance of representation in media?
Yeah, it really is amazing to see how much things have changed. You know, even just in the past few years, there are so many more stories being told now. And they're not just token characters anymore. These are fully fleshed out characters with their own unique stories and perspectives.
Exactly. It's not just about checking a box. It's about showing the real diversity of human experience.
Right. And that's why representation in media is so important, especially for LGBTQ+ individuals.
Yeah, you know, when you don't see yourself represented in the movies you watch or the TV shows you love, it can make you feel invisible, like your story doesn't matter.
Absolutely. It can be really isolating, and it can send the message that you're not normal or that you don't belong.
And that's why it's so important to have movies like these that show LGBTQ+ characters in all their complexity and humanity.
Yeah, it helps to break down stereotypes and misconceptions, and it creates a more inclusive and understanding society for everyone.
And, you know, it's not just about LGBTQ+ representation. It's about representation for all marginalized communities.
For sure. When we see a wider range of experiences reflected in media, it helps us to understand each other better and to build a more just and equitable world.
So if you're looking for more great movies with lesbian characters on Netflix, or just more insightful discussions about representation in media,
you know where to go.
make sure to check out Aftab Ashraf's YouTube channel.
He's doing some really great work.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a question to think about. What other stories need to be told?
Yeah. What voices are still being silenced or marginalized?
How can we continue to push for even more authentic and nuanced representation in media?
Keep those questions in mind as you watch movies and TV shows, and as you engage with the world around you.
Because representation matters.
Yeah.
It shapes how we see ourselves and how we see each other.
And it has the power to create real change in the world.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into lesbian representation on Netflix. We'll see you next time for another fascinating exploration.